sometimes the conversations, I just don't want to say like.
Sure.
Last time I thought people were like, and still next kids in my office, so that would. Pardon me? They're zoned out. Sure they are.
Was Miriam going to?
I know she's going to be here.
Okay.
I saw her in the post office this morning, so she's probably just running late.
Okay. 6 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. Please all please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Christina, you have the roll.
Yep.
Thank you. Can I get approval of tonight's agenda, please? With the exception that we can move Miriam ahead, I guess.
Yeah, and that's fine. The order is not necessarily an issue.
Make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda.
Thanks, sir. Go ahead.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None passes. All items on the consent agenda will be passed in one council motion unless there is something someone would like to remove for further discussion.
I'd like to have further discussion on item T.
He would be the only one. Anyone else? Okay. And I just have one question. It was item I. So we'll go with I first here, but I was just curious as to why we have outstanding invoices. Like that's new.
I'll explain it.
Okay.
You need to motion to approve your consent agenda with the removal.
Okay.
A motion to approve tonight's consent agenda minus I and T.
Correct. And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? To item I, Christina.
So, let me get to it if you can. So these are some liquor invoices that were missing from a couple of months, I think March and let me just double check, in February. They don't, these three companies don't send out statements until after our meetings. And they had some invoices obviously that were missed in order for us to get off of the no sale list with the state of Minnesota. They must be paid. So we did not have these in the April meeting or the March, and some of them the March meeting in order to pay at that time. So like I said, in order to get that release at the state and for us to be able to order beer, liquor, and wine, they had to be paid. So, and since they're
So they're not, it's not something it's not like new people. These are regular invoice.
These are not new vendors, if that's what you mean. No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay. Ron? MT?
Yeah, I just had a question on this. This is our for workers' compensation, whatever.
Correct.
And I was just wondering if we had an explanation. It seems like a significant premium increase
It is,
from the past years. It looks
it
like
is.
our actual 2022 expense was 36,000.
Mhm.
We budgeted 40,000 for 2023. And
Yeah.
the premium is actually 56,000, which
Yep.
is 20,000 above last year.
Yep.
That's a big bump.
Yep,
Did we
it
get
most
any
certainly is.
Explanation? Is it claims? Is it
So there
cost
was,
of living?
yeah, the city had one claim, and that was Public Works employee that, you know, dislocated his shoulder. But you also might remember when we went through a budgeting system, they said to expect anywhere from a 5 to 15% increase in insurance rates. And we estimated on the lower side,
Mhm.
that wasn't enough.
Mm.
It's a shock.
Mhm.
It's an absolute shock. If you look at it by department, you can see which department spiked the highest. The liability with police, again, very high, and that's statewide trending.
Mhm.
And the liability and liquor sales also very high. I can't contribute why liquor would be higher. There's really no argument that you can say for or against. I mean, at least our building is a safer place for our employees to work, so we may not have any trips or falls or harming anybody, but we probably should have erred on caution and budgeted a much higher percentage run.
Mhm. So it sounds like a combination of both claims and
Right.
cost of
And
insurance statewide.
Yep.
Is that
Yep.
the accurate?
Yeah.
Because everyone else is having so many plans also.
Well, that's part of it, but, you know, there's so many factors that play into it. I think in general, our city's pretty safe. We don't have a lot of workers' comp claims. The one, from, last year was probably the most in-depth claim that, I've been experienced since I started. So, I mean, genuinely, I think we all our employees do their job very safely. But liability when it comes to emergency management has a tendency to continue to creep higher and higher. And that, you know, we happen to own a fire department, a police department. So between those two right there, that's $20,000 right there.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Motion to approve items I and P.
I will move the approved items I and T.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed? None passes. Now, anyone here for the Blackduck forum? Okay, with that, I think we will go to item 5.4. We'll skip ahead.
Thank you.
And Miriam. What do you have for us?
Well, I did notice that this was the library report first, and I did double check with Kelly on everything, but I can tell you that what we have been doing on the front of the library this winter is writing our lovely Bible laws. So we send those in with our nonprofit. So we had a meeting to finish. We just not been able to get the other signature because Paula's father passed away. We knew that. So
Sorry to hear that.
yeah. So we had Mary's passed away last month or so, and then and then Paula's. So anyway, that's going to be happening. It's all ready to go as soon as that happens. But I better look at my other notes. Well, I told you would see us back. Just took a little longer than I'd hoped. This is regarding the library, and we've been looking, as you well know, the library's been looking for a new location to expand our library area. for about a year, I think it's been. I'm not sure how long it's been since I have attended all of your meetings. But I've been spending quite a bit of time talking to Chan Moon over the last 6 months or whatever it's been. And when, let's see, I think it was late March, he said, "You want to come see my building?" So he was trying to decide whether he was going to do something with a nephew or not, and has decided against that. So he has agreed to sell that building at a very reasonable price as far as we're concerned. As you know, the library has that $65,000 that we still probably has some interest on top of that. I've been gone, so I didn't get a chance to double check on that. So he offered it to us. And granted, we can't make that decision. We have to bring it to you all because you will own that building, or hopefully eventually, for $25,000. He had a couple of, so the library funds first, follow my notes or I'll get messed up. The library has those funds to pay that from the dollars that Kichigami had assigned to our library 2 years ago, maybe now. And they have to go towards buildings or something like that. So that will not be a problem. For that price, though, one of the things that Chan asked, and I did not know, I mean, there's a lot of things we'll have to clean out of that building, but we all can do that. That's not a problem. What he did ask for was to be able to keep access to the garage. It's on that end because it has its 57 Chevy in it. It's very nice.
You get to use it?
Maybe, I don't know. We might be going to that. And the 2 offices is what he'd like to keep that he needs to clean out of his and Tommy's. And I don't know, Christine and I talked about this, so we got to figure this out, but whether I believed that we could give him a lifetime access because I mean, I'm getting old too, so I can't say that he's older than I am. Maybe that's a way to say that. So I don't know how long that might be. I know there's concern about liability and that type thing. And I got to thinking about that, having worked in insurance before. And yes, everything in work comp went up. I can tell you that Northwoods took it too. So, but I'm not so sure that he couldn't have a rental policy that would cover that. So we can talk about that later. Let me lay out the rest of the plan. The building's large enough to allow that more space that we were trying to be able to give to the resource center when we looked at the bank across the road, and to expand, and they could pay more rent. I sit on that board too. I have not mentioned it to them at all so that we don't get out of sorts here. I don't want a conflict here. And I don't know until we decide what we're going to do. There's room for a conference area so that children can have their case worker and the visitations if they need it. We can hold much. The last time we had a library presentation in the current library, there was not enough room for chairs. So it's a lot more room that we could do that. There's area at the back where the pharmacy was. Most of you have been in that building before. We can put some of the classes and the craft work and all that back there and still hold individual classes around that area. Plus there's area to have our own book sale inside, which is exciting. And have a sale area that's ongoing. He did give us permission to use the building, whether we work this out or not, to be able to have our sale in there. We are all getting much older and cannot move all those books. And I think, Max, you've had enough moving of books for helping with us. So that would be very nice to be able to do that and keep something. And there would be area and room up here. These are a lot of Kelly's ideas. And she's at, and so I apologize, she is at a fair meeting, and there's just the 2 of us tonight. And I'm headed back to another meeting at church. So here's what he told. Well, this is the one thing I do know. We will have to add a handicap bathroom. Christina estimated $15,000 when she told me. I don't know. I don't have a clue on that one. Yeah. There is one bathroom, so it's not big enough. You can't make the turn to get a wheelchair in that bathroom. So we'll have to add a unisex bathroom to that. From our conversation, and I'm only telling you what he told me, the furnace is about 6 to 7 years old, so we don't have as old of a furnace as we had in the other building. The air conditioner, one of them concerns me. One of them is 10 years old. There's 2 units at the back. I did check that out myself. And one that's 25 years old, and that's the one that concerns me. You said they hadn't any problems, but that's the one you all, I know you're talking about. Utilities ran around $10,000 a year. He said that included taxes. So I'm not sure after we did some checking on taxes. So what did we come up with, Christina? $1,600 a year? Can't remember now.
The building itself has been reevaluated by the county in terms of value. So he's basing that based on its value from 2020.
There's something like that. Yeah. I think
this last.
He said the current value on that building was around 35, something like that. So 25 is reduced, we thought. We will probably have to retile the floor. And Kelly even thought that we could retile the floor with some help. We can retile the floor, I think, in my opinion. I'm not good down on my knees, we'll put it that way. And I think the carpet can be cleaned at this point and probably not replaced. Let's see. Oh, I guess that was my original notes. Got these out of order, sorry. See if I missed anything here. Oh, and didn't you estimate when we talked, Christina, that it might be about $5,000 put a new unit in, air conditioning unit, or was that something I wrote down at one point?
That probably was not me. Well, you know where that number comes from, Miriam, is how much the city paid to put a unit into the existing library.
That's right. So
but that building is half
much
the size.
Bigger.
Yeah.
That's low.
Yeah, maybe 10. I'm not sure. I'm guessing. He said the roof had been replaced a few years ago. I'm not sure when. They redid all of the ceiling tile, and yet there's some that will have to be replaced or painted. But they didn't in the area that maybe the resource center might be interested in, so that would have to be replaced.
Interior or exterior?
You're right. You're talking about roof or interior? Ceiling.
I'm sorry, ceiling interior is fine, except for needing to paint a few places. The roof has been replaced a few years ago. I do not know. An inspector would have to tell us what he thinks of the roof. They don't currently have any problems, he said. So, and we would probably need to paint the main area. Nothing had been off the walls and around that building for several years. He would leave all of the shelving that's there. We'd probably take that down and paint. And then if we needed shelves in the future, we would do something about that. There was something else I was going to say at that point. What was that? I didn't include signage and all here, but that's something that I think, this is only my opinion, so please take that in consideration, that I like the signs that were put up at the highway out here. It would be nice to use that theme, only put a book in it of some sort and make it Blackduck Community Library. Take down the signage that we have here, and that would add some cost to that. I think we are at the point where we're asking for you as a council to allow us to move forward with a purchase agreement and with some specific stipulations, and have an order to have an inspection of the building so that we know exactly where we're truly at in this state and what we're dealing with, because we ran into so many items that we didn't expect in the bank building. And that was just we couldn't move forward because of that. I'm hoping that you still feel the same way. I didn't write all of the explanations out, but as I did presented before, but I'm hoping you all still feel the same way, that this is an important move for our library here in the community, and to be able to add access, and it would put it right on the corner where everyone would be able to see that building and bring more people in. It still gets us when that the school kids can still walk here just a little bit further, but it does get them where they can come to the library. And now we have would have a bigger area to be able to hold those sessions that we've had with, and when a teacher wants to bring their whole class and that type of thing into the classroom, or from the classroom into the building. So I'm open for questions at this point.
You said the purchase price is 25,000
I am.
for the real property and the building. And the
Yes.
parcel.
He was willing a few years ago to give it to the History Center. So, I think his concern is being able to have a spot for his car still, have a spot to not, I don't think he wants to clean those offices out, but we might be able to help him do that. I don't want to clean out all the things I'm cleaning out either right now, and he's older than I am, so, yes, you are correct, Ron. And so, I put my note on what that would cost. So I was just doing some numbers. I think it's on the notes I took originally that we made. And what this would do, and that's what I had in my other notes. What this would allow us to do is not have you have to sell the other building before we could make the move. I mean, yes, I would like to see those dollars come into, and we could do other things eventually. But, the last time we were looking at that building had to sell before we could actually purchase the bank building. And this way we would have the funds through Kitchigami's dollars that are sitting there for us to be able to purchase that building outright. And if we could work something out with a lawyer or whatever to write in what we legally would have to have in that we could. And I think as I thought about it, I went back to my insurance days, I think we could get by, I'm not sure, with him showing proof of liability for that car, and also that the city's not responsible if there would be a fire or something. I've been out of insurance for 15 years.
Miriam, is that human resources building, the office next door, is that one parcel that owned by that?
No, it's not owned by them. They're renting, and they pay him $150 a month right now, but it's a very small, that's the resource center.
Right.
It's a very small room. The room that I think they might be interested in, and they may be able to get funds because to be able to renovate that room, and maybe we don't charge them rent for a year or something if they do their own renovation or something like that.
So it's still part of that building.
It is part of that building,
Okay.
and there's access from their office into that room. There are so many doors and rooms in that building. It's hard to keep, but I'm not sure exactly, but it's towards the back there that it opens in that room, which would be wonderful for them to be able to have a little bit bigger area when they're having a meeting or they're having consults with bigger families and that type of thing.
Miriam, did you happen to find out, since we spoke, what the age of the actual building is? That's okay.
No, we did. It's one of my tour. I needed to write that down that day.
And we can find that out.
It's on those, he gave us the original plans. Well, I need somebody that can read the plans. I didn't think to get them and take them into Darrow.
But it's early.
It's early, 1935 or 45.
Yeah.
I'm
It
thinking.
used to be a car dealership. Right?
Yes, yeah. So the basement is where let me tell you that and write that up. The basement is where the furnace is. Now, I did not go down there because he needed to change a light bulb, and I'm not willing to fall with my bad knees down those steps. It is not something that we will be able to use. It is going to only be a utility type, because in that part on that side, I think, is where I'm not going to get this right, wherever you could be underneath and change the oil. What do you call it?
Monkey pit.
Yeah. So that is not going to be usable space other than to have someone come down and check the furnace all the time, as far as I'm concerned.
Could we find out what the current tax or payment is on that?
1,600?
Yeah, it's the assessed value of the building, Ron, when I checked it, went from like 87,000 in 2019 and 20 down to like 34,000.
Really?
Yeah, its property value dropped considerably, and what the taxes are due this year is
Well, I'll have to get that assessor
is
over
a
my
huge
place.
drop.
Yeah.
Reduce my
And-
property.
And I have no reasons to explain that. I just know that that wasn't something that piqued my curiosity when Mary
So-
and I were talking about utilities and.
It's 1,600.
Yeah.
Now he had tried to, and what started this is he told me 4,000 and Christina looked it up when we were talking.
And that's just what he recalls. What we used.
I know, that's why I say I'm only going off of what he
And the
said.
monthly utilities for,
He said, well, I think they're $1,000 a month, but I'm not sure.
okay, it's a ballpark.
I would go with that because.
Do we know what the square footage of the building is?
8,100.
The 2023 tax amount is 856.
Times 2, so I did, is that right? Or is that all?
That's the total.
850, oh, I multiplied it times 2.
I did too.
Oh,
One of the questions that come up since I spoke with you and Kelly is occupancy.
pardon me?
Is occupancy, the number of persons that can be in the building at once.
Who tells me that? I don't know.
I don't know, but I might lean on Tim here. I guess my concern and one of the things that's coming in my mind is the age of the building, what we're going to use it for, who's going to be in it, and fire codes.
And how many doors?
And how many doors are in the building?
There's a lot, but I'm not sure if they go directly out. There's a back door, there's a side door, and there's this door. And there's probably the garage door could be considered an exit. That's probably 4.
They have to have push bars on them, the exit door.
Or code.
And my only curiosity
And
about
ADA compliance, yeah.
my curiosity about taxes is just what we're gonna lose by picking that up.
Yeah, it's a huge difference between.
Yeah.
It's a
that
huge
and the Wells
difference
Fargo
from this
building.
than what it was with the bank, yeah.
Once that goes on the city books, then it's.
Right.
Right,
And
and then hopefully you'll gain far more than that back on the library, because I forget now, I didn't go into all my old notes. So figure that out, but I know that was higher than that. Yeah, but you'll gain more with the library building going back on.
yeah, I think that's probably 40s-ish, but it should say on the plans.
It does, it's my
What are the-
memory.
Yeah, what are the dates on the plans?
I think it said 35 or 45, but I can't remember. You probably grew up here when it was,
Yeah, I actually was in there when I was a Ford dealership.
okay. I'm sorry, Kelly
Forest
has
or
those and she
Last
remembers
windows,
much
the whole
better than
front
mine.
building.
Yeah, it's interesting to, I know why those are all blocked with paneling on the far side, because they were windows. So after I looked at the
Cars
plans.
were inside.
So what do we want to do?
Well, I think we need to have it inspected as we had the other one inspected. I would like for us to use the same inspection service if they're available, so it's an apples to apples thing.
Certainly.
And I am supposed to stop and
That's
get the
doable.
keys. He's more than willing to give the keys ahead because we have to move the books by June 1st. So, and we can move them there no matter what. So,
So, but that, the firm that did the previous inspection, I think was pretty thorough, so that way we can compare exactly same eyes and everything. So.
and whom do we check with on the fire code and occupancy?
I'm talk with our current engineer.
Your current engineer could tell you, okay, yeah. Good, I'm glad you don't expect me to. Well, that's what I was hoping. I think we should know that before. I mean, I'd like to have you rule on a purchase, but I think we need to do the inspection.
Yeah, right, we're not gonna rule on it, we're not gonna vote on anything tonight, it's
We can't
Other than-
control anything, to figure out.
till we.
Unless the only thing I would ask you to move forward on tonight is to ask for the inspection that you have.
And I would ask for that in the form of a motion because it was a cost to us when
It was.
the
Correct.
building.
So let's
If Ron wants to do it in the form of a motion, then
we'll make that motion, Ron.
I will move that we go ahead and secure the services of the same building inspector we used for the bank building to inspect the building formerly known as Moondrug
Correct, that's right,
and incur that expense. Get it done as soon as possible.
as soon as possible would be great.
I have a motion, do I have a second.
second.
Is there any discussion on this?
The city can own a building and rent out or whatever that other side or.
Yeah, I think we can do that, yeah.
Don't count on it being lots of dollars to go soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's the United Way that's But does the CRC, right?
Well, they make a contribution. CRC stands in its own
It does.
as a I mean, we're the person who handles all the nonprofits in Bemidji and surrounding counties. So, but United Way makes a huge contribution, plus handling all the insurance and that type of thing. So we get a lot from the state of Minnesota.
Yeah.
But it would be rental that would come back into you. Like I said, I have not talked to Ruth about this at all. Ruth Sherman's the director. I wanted to come here first, and the possibility of her enlarging that area would give us more, even though they only pay about $150 a month.
See, and I don't think the city's really.
You're not worrying about that.
That we're trying to make money off of United Way or something.
Yeah,
It's not,
so, yeah.
I don't think that's anyone's goal here.
I just have to vote on card.
Oh, for time.
Yeah.
It's a good clarification point.
Okay.
That you said that.
What did you say? I didn't quite hear you.
He's concerned about the ownership of the space that Chan would reside in.
I know.
And that lease.
And that would be, I mean, if it has to be rental too, I was thinking about that too over the weekend as I had to write this up. I mean, that's something that we could do, a small rental so that you have that, but you make him provide, like if I was going to have an apartment, I would have to get renter's insurance. So I believe in the auto industry, I mean, in the insurance of the autos. I think you can do that, but I'm not positive anymore.
Yeah, you'd have to have some type of lease if he's gonna keep possession of
Even
the
if it's $10 a month, you know, that's not, hey, we'll
But
fundraise for it.
you said he wants to keep 2 offices.
Well, he said they're right next to this, I think we could probably work with him and get him to, we could help him pack them, so we could say, we would need you to be out of those offices by the end of the year or something.
But you have to do a lease, even though,
Absolutely.
even though there's no, even if there's no money.
Right,
Still-
yeah, even if you would do it that way, yes. Yeah, you'd have to have a lease with them, and you'd have to have a lease, and believe me, CRC would like to have a lease. We do not have a current lease, so it's been difficult to get one from Chan, so we would have to write the actual leases, but I'm sure we could do that. It could be binding.
Okay, we still have a motion. All those in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Get inspected.
Appreciate it very much.
It's a step forward.
And I will get the key this weekend, of course, if I have a day off this week.
I'll
So-
be in touch with you when I get a hold of him
Okay.
and see when he can come up. And
Thank you, very much, and thank you for putting me on the agenda early. We have community, we order a church, and my kids not pastor, so we have a board of directors meeting tonight, so. Thank you, appreciate it.
Miriam.
Thank you.
And we'll go back up to item 5.1. Public Works.
You want to take Shannon before me?
I hear you.
I don't really have a whole lot for you guys, but obviously we're still in the moving process. Snow is gone. We just got Pine Tree Park opened up. We've got some work to do out there for blow down and whatnot over the winter, and a little bit of wind that came up before here. The bathroom down at the wayside is open now. And I would like to mention that a couple of weeks ago, the Girl Scout Troop 667, I believe it was, actually was down there and picked up some sticks and some garbage and did quite a bit to help out. So we were sure appreciative of that. Still need you guys to make a decision at some point on Oscar Avenue with what you're gonna do. It's only getting worse and worse. That's been on the radar for 3 years now, I think. So we still have that out there. Yeah, we're just kind of in a real weird time right now with moving between 2 shops, trying to open things for the summer, streets that are still flexing from the frost. It's just, we're kind of all over the place right now. It's a real haphazard couple of weeks. Anything for me from any of you?
Nothing you don't already know.
I'm sure it's this pothole, that pothole, this frost
I
boil.
don't even, I can call you.
Yeah, no,
know.
there's lots of them out there, and unfortunately with the way we're set up with that,
if any of you don't know, we actually borrow a patch trailer from the county, and that's kind of how we get by. The county's treated us real good on it, you know, they let us borrow it. It hasn't cost us anything in the years that I've been here, and I don't believe it did beforehand. But with that being said, we're on the bottom of the totem pole to get the patch trailer. You know, this time of year, they're all over the place. You know, Beltrami County is a big county. It's going all over the place, fixing what they need to fix. It'll be a bit before we get it. You know, generally with some of the stuff, we're able to put a little bit of cold patch into places, but the way that some of these things let loose this year, the cold patch ain't gonna cut it. It's not gonna do it. So I'm aware of it. I know where it is. You know, we'll do kind of the best that we can do with filling some of it with 1.5-inch rock or gravel, or you know, some of the quarry stone. It's all kind of depends on where it's at, what we put in it. And I'm not sold that all the frost is completely out yet, so there's still going to be some movement in these roads, especially in our neck of the woods. In our road base, there's lots of clay in there, and you know, old corduroy and things that just shift and move, and it takes quite a while for it to stop in the spring.
But everything's coming along down there?
We're getting there. Yep, we're getting there. Like I said, we're really in an odd spot right now with the movement between the two buildings and then everything else that spring, you know, requires. And you know, we've been out at the golf course quite a bit, trying to help them get carts up and running, get irrigation running, putting doors in the clubhouse, and just generally trying to get that thing moving and going along. So we're stretched pretty thin right now between all the departments that fall underneath Public Works and then the other departments. So we're trying.
All right. Anything for Mike?
No, thanks.
Thank you.
Rhonda,
Yes,
5.2, that's you.
that is me. Interesting.
Good.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot. Our bingos for the winter months, spring, winter months. That went well. Bingo went well. We had Cinco de Mayo on Friday. That went very well. People ready to come out of their caves. Yeah, right now we're just waiting for the magic opening fishing number. Get us going.
New menu?
And a new menu. Yep, we did that. Added a few things, changed it up a little bit, changed the look of it. Put some pricing on there. Fortunately, it didn't go down, but nothing's going down.
Yeah, I was at the grocery store today, so.
Right? Yeah. Yep. We have some new featured things. This week is what we call our wood duck burger. It is on our menu. Come down and check it out. On that, questions for me? Anything?
Did we find anything on the cooler? Or why it's doing what it's
The
doing?
humidity, do you have a humidity problem in the cooler?
So timeline on this is that we need to make sure that our furnaces and our airflow and the air conditioning are up to the standard that it needs to be to keep and reduce and keep the humidity down. And until we do that, we have to put up with the door. Because when I called them, they were like, we're not gonna come up and fix that until you have pretty much proof that you've done what needs to be done.
And what is that? What do you need to do for that to control that humidity? It sounds like you got different units working against each other. Is that
no, it's like the square footage. What we have for air conditioning in the back
okay?
is one thing. I've got a quote, from Julesson Plumbing and Heating. To rectify the problem. We talked about what the problem was. And then, I also had Nailers, the gentleman from Nailers come down and explained the problem. So I want to get it from a different couple sources to see. Right now that was looking at about like $25,000. So if we're going to invest that much more, then I need to make sure it's really going to happen. So, I mean, it's in process. All of that has to be evaluated before we even look at the door.
Gotcha.
So I am working on that.
Shouldn't this have been checked out before they put the cooler in like that? I mean, with the new roof units and the new addition and whatever they put in there, I mean, you think that.
Did we get new air conditioners?
No.
No.
But one thing to remember is that the city agreed to take on that cooling issue and not include that in the project cost.
Yeah.
This is, oh, because this was before me, so I just gonna ask it.
Yeah. When the feasibility study came out originally to remodel the liquor store, there were a number of high topic items, high ticket items. And in order to get the project within the scope of what the city could afford, you know, some of that was going to be cared for outside the scope of that project down. And the AC units was that. So we have one that was replaced.
Right.
But that we still have to complete that section of the project.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, it was addressed. You're right. It is unfortunate because everything that the scope of the project did cover, although great, still is kind of being hindered by the other section we haven't completed yet.
So we gotta put in one more air conditioner.
So, well,
That at a minimum, yes.
It's one thing that has to be done.
thank you for explaining that, because I was kind of wondering.
Yeah. Yeah, it was addressed on.
Okay.
Okay.
But then COVID happened too.
Yeah.
We went through this project during lockdown. So even the one unit that did go in took over a year to get.
Yeah.
So it may seem like the city is dragging its feet on this, but there was a lot of things that happened all at the same time. And then when we reopened and the building was completed, the cooler worked great. And the door worked as spec'd until the first summer.
Okay. I'm just thinking we got a really nice cooler.
Yeah.
And
Well, the cooler's still cooling the beer.
I mean, we
Yeah.
got a really nice cooler. It'd be nicer if we just walk up to it.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
I think we all agree that that would be great, that it operated the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. Make sure everybody's on the same page, you know, it didn't come with a slider on it, so. All right. Anything else for Shonda?
Thank you.
Mike, do you want to give Misty's report?
Sure. What do you want to know?
Well, you said you were out of the golf course.
I could probably wing it and get that close for you.
I could at least start on what she's asked to discuss.
Well, let's
That
start
would help.
there.
Okay. So if you recall at the last work session when Misty was here, she discussed how the kitchen still needs a piece of equipment. She's got some equipment down there that's technically on loan by a couple community members. And that needs to go back to those folks. And she's had the same rep that the liquor store has come down and look at what would be a suitable and correct size refrigerator for the finish off of the kitchen. She's provided that, and then an approved MDH shelf that can go in the same room. And she's basically asking permission to purchase this item. I believe one of the things she was going to discuss tonight, because she did reach out to me, was she really wanted to get an idea of how much money was taken in the provincials last year, offsetting, which was revenue that, she worked hard to bring in. And one of the main reasons was to help continue to the clubhouse. Not putting words in her mouth, but I think that was the passion that she was going to discuss with the council. Is she's continuing those grill and chills. The first one's on the 26th of the month. The cost of the piece of equipment is not too terrible, and this would finish off what she needs in that kitchen.
Is she expanding the food that's going to be out there, or the? No,
she can. I don't believe she'll be able to expand it much more than what she has, Max.
Okay.
Unless she's said something other to you.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
no, that's why I'm asking. I'm like, well, okay.
Well, she said that the cooler she has out there now is jam-packed so full of pizzas that
It's not.
And she's supposed to refrigerate her condiments at the end of the day. And what she's doing right now is she's bringing it up and downstairs from the upper clubhouse area down to the kitchen when, not in use.
Which brings me to my next question. This will be installed downstairs?
Yeah, this is going in that kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it has to be Department of Health standard.
Very good.
Replacing borrowed.
What she has in that existing kitchen right now is she doesn't have a refrigerator, but she has a worktop table that she's utilizing to put her pizza ovens on and her for her prep. And if you've ever been in that room, it's the table. I don't know how they got it in there to begin with.
It was fun.
But it's too big to be in there.
Chris probably built it in there.
It was close. Yeah, it was really close. I mean, I questioned if you could get this in there too, but
all right.
yeah. So she wants to be able to get this going so that everything she has in the kitchen is what she needs.
How long is this out?
As long as what out?
How long is
So long
it
before this can get
before
delivered.
before it can even get here?
I'm sorry, I couldn't answer that question for you.
It's coming from the same vendor as the bar one did, isn't
So
it?
probably 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, that turnaround on the bar.
Yeah,
one was
because
pretty
I
quick.
mean,
Did they get there?
They
Yeah.
do.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
brought that in a week ago or so, I think.
Yeah, a little over a week
Was
ago.
it something like that?
End of April.
I know they're waiting.
Yeah.
So if we want to do this, this total is accurate.
It's what she provided to me. This includes the shelving and an estimate of the freight program. So
Could be a little bit different, but
yeah, it could vary a
Because
little
of the-
bit.
because of the
23,
freight
86,
program.
10.
no, great.
I don't think that the one that was approved for the liquor store varied too much from what the council approved for that one.
So if we want to put that in the form of a motion, then I'll.
I'm just looking to make sure that there's just one amount on here. So for the shelf and so your total amount $2,386.10. Yes. Okay. Yep. So motion to approve $2,386.10 for the purchase of the shelf and the cooling unit.
I'll second. A motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
Been doing a good job out there and I think she deserves the right to.
We knew we were gonna have to
better.
support her to do this, yes, I agree.
Point of order, I did not get the second, who seconded it. Nick did think it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Bridge and shelf are on the way. Hope it goes well. Did
What's that?
not important.
Okay. I do know that the course itself kind of get a soft open this weekend. Close Sunday, obviously. Walk on traffic today. The official date that she announced to be open would be Wednesday. But we had, I went to two chamber events last week, and there was people golfing on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. So that's good. A lot of people just itching to get out with the nice weather. Yeah. Okay. Shannon, you're up.
Okay.
So first off, I'd like to thank the council for letting me be here today and for your previous past years of support in what I'm about to ask for. So I'm the head coach of the Blackduck crap shooting team. We are anticipating a trip to Michigan for the national crap shoot for high school. This will be our, I believe, 6th showing if we do send a team, which as of right now, we'll have plenty of kids to qualify to send a team out there. That can certainly change. We have one more shoot left officially in our league, and then we move to class championships and tournaments. What we're asking for is to help pay for the team's registration fee, which is $475. Then the team that we bring out there, their individual registration, which is $665. And I think we're asking for $1,600 for shirts for the team out there and some food. We like to take the whole team, everyone that's there out to one dinner where we all eat together. Otherwise, in the past, we've all kind of went our own restaurants because we all have different tastes, obviously. Do you have any questions for me? Just a little history. Like I said, this is I believe will be our sixth showing in 10 years out at nationals. It's a trip where all the kids in the family, their parents come. And it's a real family type. It's more of a family trip than a sport trip. We're there to shoot, but that's not all we do. We go out and do things together like we're all family.
And
go ahead, man.
Shannon, you guys are not funded by the high school.
Correct. We receive $0 from high school.
Really?
We have a dedicated group of parents
we formed our own booster club, 501c3 official. And they take care of all of our fundraising. We charge our kids $50 to participate in the spring. And out of that, not counting the nationals tournament, they get about $700 worth of tournaments and shooting out of that $50.
So how long has the school had a trap club?
This is our 10th season.
10th year.
Yep. Currently have 24 kids. Happy to say 12 are varsity shooters, meaning they shoot 19 out of 25 or higher. A junior varsity, we have 11 kids, which is a score of 14 to under 19, and we have one novice, which is anything under 14. And right now he's at like 13.85, so he's almost a JV shooter.
Okay. So literally everyone shoots better than I do.
Oh, and while I'm thinking of it, we have what we do is a fun day. It'll be May 21st. You're all welcome to come out to the North Beltrami Sportsman's Club. 1 o'clock, I believe, is when we start, but we'll be there all day. We'll have food. And what that is there's 3 schools that shoot on it at Sportsman's Club. That's Blackduck, Collier, and North Home. And all 3 schools will be there. We take names, put them in a hat, draw teams. That way we get some interaction between all 3 schools, and it's not a school versus school. The only school versus school part of that day is the coaching competition. So the coaches for North Home, Collier, and Blackduck, we compete against each other for a coveted trophy that sits out at, it sits out at the gun club with who won that year. Happy to say it's been Blackduck so far that year, but that could change.
So if I was to make like a mayor's bet.
I don't know if I was.
You don't know that, but you go that far? Okay. Anyway, Shannon, thank you. Unless you have something, what do we want to do here, folks? What do we want to entertain?
What did we do last year again?
I believe, and I could be wrong because I didn't provide it to you guys, but the registration was covered by the city. I don't think there was anything above and beyond that, but I
think it was. I think there was, because I remember it was about $1,320.
okay. So there's probably around.
I think you have to pay for gas, because gas had gone quite significantly.
So there you go. I mean, just the registration alone is $1,140. Yeah.
Sure.
For the team and the individuals. So.
Well, I'll make a move that we make a motion to approve the donation request for the Blackduck High School Trap Club for the requested amount of $1,600. Is that correct?
It is correct.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Before I continue, if there's any discussion. Just want to remind the council that we have scaled back.
We have scaled back and
Some of our donations to help keep the.
well, we pulled that up last week or last session. I think seems like we pulled that. It gave us that last time we met. When we were at. Oops, I didn't need this. Yeah, I just want to make sure that because we.
As to how much was donated.
How much yeah, okay.
Or where we were.
Was that the work session? Or was it at the meeting?
It was at your council meeting because you approved money to your after prom.
Okay, so, okay.
That's what I've written down. So total this year, so far, and we have a $6,000 budget. We set for budgeting for this year. That's what we set. We were in budget. That's what I wrote down on 310.
Okay.
Six or
Like 1,500.
That team last year, okay, amount 16, we did 1,600, it looks like, for 2022.
Okay.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, okay. I said small. But that was when we're at budget at 10,000
Yeah.
for 2022, and we brought that down to
6,000. Yeah.
So, but we're not doing a garden club this year, right? Correct?
Correct.
So we already did the prom.
And we did kids fishing tournament.
Okay,
Spring.
We should have toys for tots coming up.
yep,
And we have
the chamber
the history.
and the history center.
And
So. And it looks like we do about 6 for chamber was 622.
But that'll go up because in the history center will probably go up too because that's insurance.
And that's 829.08.
You're probably right.
And because they're probably gonna have an insurance claim because the roof's leaking so bad over there.
What did you say we were at?
1447 right now.
Year to date.
Yeah, year to date. So, sorry about this.
So we're asking,
It should be kind of put a limit on what we're gonna.
so with that, Ron, you want to renew your motion?
Well, you
Or-
need to vote on the motion that you've already put out there first. Call for a vote. Call for a vote.
It's been a rule.
I would just call for a vote on your motion.
And then just keep it adjusted. Might have to make that 1,000, that 1,000, then probably right around. Roughly, it's rough, but
So then we'll vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I. Now, oh, that's it.
And with 3-2, the motion carries.
Yep.
Okay. We're supposed to say nay.
I don't think we're doing enough to know.
And we have a very few nays.
Thanks,
You
Shannon.
wanna hear more from me? Cause
What Chet, you wanna preach, the pulpit's yours.
1600.
I'll just sit quietly and listen to that.
Thank you, Shannon.
Before I sit down, I do want to reiterate, I talked a little bit to Shonda last year about this. Maybe you can speak the same to Shonda. When you guys have big events that you need help for, at the pond, at the golf course,
At the library.
at the library, give me a holler. I'll send some kids, able-bodied, strong bodies, whatever you need.
Amen. Okay, thank you. Shannon.
And again, I did mention that to Shonda last year and never got a call,
Did
so.
I forget? Yeah.
Well, I bet you Mike will probably pick you up on that way. When it comes to like backwoods bash, you could always get a couple extra
exactly.
hands. Yep. Perfect.
Back to you, Christina.
Okay. The next item I have is, I need approval on a revision to resolution 2023-01. I discussed this at the work session that when the sale of the old lumber yard at 88 First Street got done, that there was some typos in the resolution that was approved in January, and the title company needs a revision. So the same document I applied to the council when I discussed it at the work session, it's still valid. So I just need final approval of this revision, please.
Okay, you need a motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve resolution 2023-01. Resolution authorizing the sale of public property revised.
I can work with that.
So second,
Second.
is there any discussion on it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
I just have a couple of meetings to discuss and announce that May 17th at 2 p.m. is the next planning commission meeting. I need to know on that if I can have Max present that week. Is that possible?
Mhm.
I unfortunately need to take some time off for some personal reasons, and I cannot be here that week.
Okay.
So it'd be advantageous if I can have a little extra help. That bringing me to May 20th is the citywide cleanup day. At 8 o'clock, we could always use a couple extra hands and backs to help clean and pick up.
You know,
We would be more than happy to help. The thing is we have a tournament in
Yeah.
Bemidji on May 20th.
Yeah,
that figures.
that's okay. Now we only have a
But-
couple of locations.
Those kinds of things, perfect.
Yeah,
Yep.
we'll keep that in mind, Shannon.
Thank
We
you.
only have a couple of residents that have signed up so far. It is still early. I'll make another push this week for signups, but
I have one request, if we can use city's trailer. If the planning commission could use the trailer to pick up garbage that day.
That's on the 20th?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's no problem.
I mean, we'll
We're
get
probably gonna need a
together,
pickup too then, I suppose.
huh?
You need a pickup too?
No, I think Wilson's got a big enough
Good.
truck to pull it on this.
What,
It's just that last year, everybody thought we had her nice and simple. We ended up 2 trucks and trailers and
it was a big.
we went,
are
we
you gonna
made 2
need,
trips.
are you gonna need sides built for the trailer?
We can strap it.
Snowed on us last year.
And it was snowing. So,
It's mean out. It's mean.
Kind of keep that on put a pin in that in
Yeah.
case we get to it.
so if, in case it gets that that big, I would make that request.
Not a problem.
Anything else on that one, Max?
No,
Okay. May 22nd at 6 p.m. is your scheduled work session, because the following Monday is Memorial Day and we're not open in business. Also on May 22nd will be the scheduled presentations from the RFP for the engineering firms. We'll have more engineering, Carvico and Winseth. They have scheduled invited to have up to 20-minute presentation with a 10-minute Q&A for each engineering company for the council. That's going to take up most of the hour and a half of that work session. So as it sits right now, I don't have a lot on the agenda, and we'll most likely omit some of the old business so that we can give the firms their time.
very good.
The other thing is that what I had to do is the public hearing that we had for the USDA compliance for our stage 2 documents. After I sent in the affidavit to Angela Bacavoy and she got back from vacation, she realized that the notice actually was published in the Blackduck American to the day the public hearing was actually had was 9 days, because they don't count the day of the hearing, or they don't count the day that it was published.
So it's void.
Right. On a compliance issue with USDA, we have to have it again. So I posted it to be at the tail end of the work session, not the lead in, because we invited engineering firms at the beginning. Angela said if we sent it in, she knows it would get kicked out. She apologizes that she didn't catch it sooner. Well, she was on vacation the week I sent it to her, so she didn't have a chance to tell me no. So unfortunately, for a compliance standpoint, I need to have that public hearing again. So I can't imagine we're going to have any additional questions that we had at the last one. Yeah, so I feel bad about that, but it is definitely going to be 10 days now. It stinks because the Blackduck American is only published 1 day a week. The other problem is that the Blackduck American needs all of their stuff submitted to them, including public and advertising, by the Wednesday of the week that it runs, by noon. So you don't have any wiggle time. You have to be a whole week ahead of time to have anything noticed. So yeah, I felt really bad. I'm like, but it's 10 days. And she's like, technically it's not, because they can't count the day it runs. Yeah. So anyway, just giving you guys a heads up on that.
So we'll just have a little redo.
We'll just have a little redo. Yeah.
Good at public hearings.
As I stated earlier, May 29th is the Memorial Day holiday. So in observance of that, City Hall and the DMV offices will be closed. And then June 5th, that Monday, will be the council's next regular council meeting. And unless I forgot something,
and I would encourage everyone to attend the school's Memorial Day program. It's really good.
Including the part at the cemetery.
Yes. It would mean a lot. At this point, Christina, I think, don't I need to give a little sum up of our closed meeting? Technically.
Yep. You still can't discuss the dollar.
Nope.
Okay.
We met in a closed meeting to discuss the sale of 72 Railroad Avenue Southeast in Blackduck. We entertained one offer and ended up accepting it. So. That was what our meeting was all about. Nothing else. Anybody got anything else?
Do we have to mention anything about the timetable of the sale?
Not that I'm aware of. Just what we discussed at the meeting without.
Yeah.
All the details.
You can state closing date and name, but you can't state price. And that's just exposure between the real estate agent and the person that made the offer.
Yep. So with that,
Did you want me to state that?
that we entertained an offer from Doug Julson.
Yep.
With a closing date before what, the first of
On or before September 1.
September 1,
God willing, earlier.
earlier. Because Mike should be done with it by then.
I'm gonna leave 2 tools in now, but it's already. Yeah, we should be done before that.
Okay. Community events.
A lot of stuff going on for the chamber this month. Their next meeting is May 17th. They're doing their ditch cleanup of Highway 71. Also that date on 6 p.m. if anybody's interested on helping. We meet at Shamrock Storage on the north side. We do both sides of 71 from basically the intersection of 47 all the way down to pretty much where the main chamber duck is on 71. So both sides of the road, but we can always use a couple extra hands.
What are they doing that day, Shannon?
17th,
that would be a Tuesday,
the
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Probably in school.
At 6 o'clock.
Not at 6.
I'll see what I can muster up.
Yeah. We usually get a great group of people from Choice Therapy, Stanford, Northwoods Lumber, Charlie Anderson and Scott McGoon still come out. I think last year we had at least 15 people. We get it done really quick. A couple of side-by-sides and a couple of trucks, and depending on how tall the ditches are, you know, how many solo cups we pull out of the cattails across from the liquor store.
It's how much you're gonna be able to net from the water.
Yeah, well, weavers bags.
And where do you meet?
We meet up at Shamrock Storage.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. We park there and we walk down, and we get plenty of vehicles to bring back and forth. So
Okay.
I always get the bags from them. Yeah, could always use some help. Sure, the chamber would love it if the school were to help. I know that the school always sends kids out all over town to
Sure.
clean up the trail and everything, and I know the city really appreciates that. So it's up to you guys. May 20th is the citywide garage sale, and that's also sponsored by the chamber. The deadline to get on the map is the Monday the 15th by noon. Jake Lean is going to create that Google map, and then it'll be pushed out on social media on the chamber's social media page. I usually print some hard copies too, because people like to have that. And Misty will be having her first grill and show at the golf course on May 26th, Friday. And I know there's probably a ton of other May things I'm missing. Graduation is coming. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Yeah.
Anybody have anything else tonight? Councilor Johnson, would you like to make a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Lori, thank you. All those in favor?
I.
Adjourned.